Hi there, this is Vladimir. It's Walking and Talking. Another episode of my show where I walk and talk and practice my English. And now I want to focus on English and tell you something about independent learning and what is learning. Probably I was talking about it a lot for the last few years, but it's really interesting just to see, like at any given moment, what else you can say and how you can say it better. Because let's suppose you talk about studying English and you have like 15 minutes or 30 minutes a day, and these 30 minutes you can dedicate to talking about the same thing, like English, studying English. Suppose it's your top task or top goal which you need to strive for or which you need to aim at. So and basically what you're doing is like talking the same thing over and over, but it's not a mere repetition. In school they teach you to memorize words, memorize all these grammar structures, some different types of time, like past, present, future, past perfect, present perfect, future perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, present perfect continuous. Well, and it's like beside times there's lots of other things in grammar, like how to use plural nouns and verbs, how to use prepositions, how to use this and that. And like after a few years of studying English in school, you know some rules which we even can talk about, but you don't have any practice. Well, you have a little practice, of course. You now in schools today they also evolve slowly, but they evolve. They have time for practicing real speech, but it's not real speech. It's speech from they take sentences from textbooks and practice to use these sentences. It's the same as reading, for example, drama or Shakespeare tragedies. So you just take a role and you read this role. But in real life it doesn't work. So in real life, if you talk, if you want to learn how to speak fluently and naturally, all you need to do is just speaking. No matter what you will gonna talk about, the point is just talk. Look what I'm doing right here. Just talk. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I just take my experience, like all this time which I invested in studying English, and also my experience, like the whole experience of my life. And I'm trying to conceptualize this experience by using English language. And as you may see, it works pretty well. So now I'm able to talk about everything, and I haven't taken classes, English classes. I paid for no courses. I just did it on my own, and lots of people in the world already are doing it in the same way as I'm doing it right now. And you can meet all these people on YouTube, on the internet. They all talk about it. Just type a question: how to study English independently, how to study English on your own, what to do to improve your English, how to learn to think, how to learn to speak, how to learn to read, how to learn to write. You'll find hundreds of thousands of people who are sharing their wisdom, their knowledge. And you can become one of them just by doing what I'm doing right now. And it'll get you much further than sitting in your classroom and studying grammar and all different structures which are of no usage. Okay. Yeah, probably if you choose this method, like what I'm trying to tempt you to choose, you will have not excellent grammar. And it'll take you 10 years, yeah, or 5 years. Let's suppose it'll take you 5 years to make your grammar like not perfect, but more or less acceptable. And you may say, wow, it's a lot of time. I'd better learn how to speak correctly from the beginning. I can learn this sentence, this like structure, and apply this structure for my speaking, and it will give me, you know, what it will give you? Nothing. It will give you some shit in your brain, in your mind, which you will never be able to use and which you will forget in few months or years after you finish your school. That's the point. And probably you think, wow, whom the fuck are you talking to? And I'm talking to children now who are teaching, who are taught in school when they are 10 or 12 or you know how how old they can be. Yeah, I was taught in school German for 4 years, and then I was taught German in my college for 3 years, and then probably a couple of years, not a couple of years, that's actually not true, but for some time I was taught German in my university, and it was a lot of time. And now I know no German, no fucking German, no German. Okay, well, I can say, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or I can say, wie heißt du? Ich heiße. I'm not even sure. Probably it's this ich heiße. Well, I can say a few words, but in general, my German is like 0. And I spent a lot of time. I spent like, well, if to take hours, I spent probably like 500 hours. I don't know, it's like my suggestion. I don't know exactly how many, but probably 500 hours during these 7, 8 years or 9 years were spent studying German. I don't know German. Whereas if I consider how much time I spent for self-talk and studying, of course I spent much more time, but it's not the point. The point is that if I would be able to go back in my childhood, and if I would be able to understand how I can study language through self-talk and recording myself on a camera and talking all this, taking all this chaos which is going through my mind and putting this chaos in order, I'll probably now can speak 5 or 10 languages, because it doesn't take too much time, as I said. When you start talking, no matter how it's like, if you have an experience of studying languages in school for a couple of years, you may start talk right now. And your problem is that you're afraid of talking, you're afraid of making mistakes, you're afraid of sharing, you know, your stupidity or your foolishness or whatever you think is in your head. And unless you are able to get through this stage, go to the next stage when you can share it and you're not afraid to be stupid, you're not afraid to be, you know, to look foolish. Because, look, what's better? To be a fool or to look like a fool? See? You know what I'm saying? If you are a fool, it's much more worse than if you just look like a fool, but you are not a fool. But if you are a fool and you look like smart person, it's 100 times worse than when you are smart and look like a fool. And to be smart, you exactly need to look like a fool for a lot of time, because smart people, really smart, are those who, you know, free thinkers. They look weird, like me. I know that I'm looking weird, and they look probably like foolish idiots. But the problem is that they are, like me, they are smart, and they know what they are doing and why they are doing that. Whereas lots of other people who look smart, they basically are stupid idiots. Not all the time, but in many cases it's true. And if you want to become really somebody who can really, you know something, it's better to start learning and looking at yourself, like telling truth to yourself. If you're a fool, don't be afraid to tell yourself that you're a fool, because since you are not afraid, and since you tell yourself that you're a fool, you're already not a fool. You know, one of the greatest philosophers of all the time, Socrates. It was exactly his words. Or Plato put these words in his mouth, but the point was that I know that I don't know anything. I mean, I know that I'm a fool, but these people, they believe that they are wise people. And by these people, he meant sages of his time. He was talking like, they believe that they are wise, but I see that they are not wise, and that I see that they don't see what I see. That they are the same fools, but they just, you know, have a little bit more. They deceive themselves. Yeah. I mean, since you are able to admit that you're a fool, you're not a fool anymore. And still you hold this belief that you're not a fool, that you're a smart person. You're a fool. There's no way to escape. But the point is, of course, that if you are admitted that you're a fool, and then you start learning, and then you spend, for example, 10 years or 5 years or just 1 year studying yourself, well, you can say, I admitted that I was a fool at 2007, and now it's 2019, and there's 12 years, and I know I still in this ignorance, and you know, I'm still a fool, but at least like I have 12 years of experience of self growth or learning, self-development, and it means something. Okay, I have just 1 minute. Oh, let's go and take water, because I came here for water, but there were a man who was also taking water from the spring, and I decided to wait, not to embarrass him, just by self-talk, close to the spring. Okay, water, water, water. Usually I take water here. And so how much time? I have just a few minutes. I'll put a camera here. Okay, I began this video from saying that it's actually okay to repeat every day something that you are studying and just talk the same shit over and over, but using different words, trying different paths of talking about the same thing, like studying English. And you can do that with everything you like. Like if you need motivation, just start talking in English about motivation for 10 minutes every day. Don't be afraid to repeat over and over, like from the beginning. Okay, today I need to talk about motivation, and then you just can start analyzing what you said before. Then you can add something new. Next day you can add something new. Just by talking about motivation for 10 minutes a day, you can be super highly motivated. You can forget about procrastination in a few months, and then you can become a teacher of motivation in the next few years if you are able to maintain this sequence. Okay, I'll talk about it later. Now I need to finish this video.